There was a super ball from Odegaard in behind for that.
Yeah.
Martinelli's pace, the two wide players, Shaka and him, with Odegaard floating around. Eddie Nketiah, big question around him and the transfer window. He's getting his goals. Brilliant for that lad, brilliant for the manager, great for his confidence. So yeah, I mean, this was a difficult fixture for them in what's going to be a really difficult month of January. And I thought, although they had that goal at the end from Mitomo ruled out for barely being offside, which would have made it 4-3, it was the changes, I think, that Arsenal made that kind of allowed Brighton that impetus. So, all in all, a really, really super performance.
We keep asking questions of Arsenal, Don, and they keep answering in some style.
Yeah, do you know what it reminds me of, Dan? It reminds me of 15-16 when Leicester were in this position, and every week, every month went by and I thought Tottenham will catch Leicester, someone will catch them, and they never did. City, obviously, a different kettle of fish than Tottenham, who were the chasers at the time, but Arsenal getting the job done. And when you watch them, Dan, there's like inevitability that they're going to win, and you very rarely get that, I think, with top sides. I think over the last 5 or 6 years, it's normally Liverpool, it's normally Man City where they go, it doesn't matter who they're playing, they'll win. That's Arsenal at the moment. I had no doubt they'd beat Brighton. It's just the way they're playing. Craig mentioned Odegaard, he was man of the match by a million miles. Partey was brilliant for one of the goals. He's one of the best readers of the game. And they're flowing. They've got momentum, which you can't buy. So, you know, they're playing well. They're winning games. And they're going away from teams. And they're going away from Man City. 7 points clear, as you said. But Craig's right. I mean, in our mind's eye, we think we're halfway there, but we're not. But there's a lot of work to be done. But what a position to be in. I mean, from this time, I think at the start of last season, when they're in the bottom three, Arteta out, first job in football, he's not going to survive. All of a sudden, he had a little bit of trauma with the Aubameyang. It reminds me of Ten Hag and Ronaldo and Rashford scenario, but he made the right call. Look where they are now.
You said you don't like Nketiah. Is he starting to change your mind, Shaq? 3-3 now?
Let me just say, every question or criticism I've had of Arsenal, not just Nketiah, all season long, they've answered. You know, all the concerns about, which Don just mentioned, whether we're talking about Arteta at the start of the season, how would they respond to that first loss?
Every time he's out of his box, by the way, I just think of Craig. Arteta.
Well, according to, according to, I don't know who was on the... Oh, it was Lee Dixon.
Yeah.
According to Lee, who was at the game, that he did bump into the
linesman
assistant on more than one occasion.
Yeah.
Get the flag, poke it in his eye, right, and then see if he comes back.
Sorry, Shaq.
No, but as I said, to that point, you know, all those questions answered. Now, the one remaining one is can Arsenal put together two halves of a season, of the same season? And right now, you have to say absolutely yes. I disagree with Don in that I don't think this was a foregone conclusion for Arsenal. Going to Brighton on the back of Gabriel Jesus going down and the January transfer window and all the speculation around who will come in, is Nketiah good enough? I going into this, I wouldn't have put my mortgage in Arsenal winning.
Right.
Yet, once again...
It's because you rent.
Well, put Don's mortgage. I wouldn't have put Don's mortgage on Arsenal winning. But again, not only do they win, they make it look so easy. And yes, it got a little closer in the end than it should have been, but they just make it look so easy. Again, just having me kind of have another serving of humble pie.
If you think Eddie Nketiah is going to be Gabriel Jesus, then we're having the wrong discussion, you know, because he's just not. He's just not. He's just got to be a good version of himself that's popping up, keeping himself on the score sheet, linking up play, working hard, closing down defenders, making sure, as he was for the one that the keeper spilled, that he was in that right area, having the striker's instinct to poke it in the net. And maybe that's fine for Arsenal. Maybe they'll go and look at the middle of the park in January and say, right, what happens if something happens to Shaka and Partey?
Yeah.
Do we sort of try and bring in some reinforcements there? Are we okay with Eddie Nketiah for the time being? We know Jesus is coming back. So there are some sort of conundrums for them. There's no need to go and panic and bring somebody in for the sake of it. And the one thing about Arteta, and it is the one thing that certainly annoys me watching him, I don't get annoyed so much by managers being jumpy in the technical area. Sometimes you think, sit down. It's more his positioning of how far he continually comes out. And what made me laugh was when he thought it was actually 4-3, with 5 or 6 minutes to go, or maybe more, before the goal was ruled out, he was telling everybody, calm down. Calm down. Like, calm down. You look around at him and he's bobbing around like 90 minutes. He's like jumping around, running into people. So, you know, it is a one thing that he does. I suppose that's the makeup of him, but his team is paying off, isn't it? I suppose one downside, we've seen in this game a little bit, again, Gabriel making one or two decisions, needless yellows. Then we saw William Saliba make a mistake for one of the Brighton goals. The second one, I think it was. Unusual from those guys, particularly Saliba, who's been brilliant. So there are some real, some little holes to be picked at in Arsenal, but that's nitpicking. But let's just say January is going to be a massive month for them.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.